Metallica should have dropped that instead of that brand new song. Could have done the There I Ruined It guy. The Curb Your Enthusiasm Metallica mashup. Richard Lewis, by the way, has announced that he is returning to Curb Your Enthusiasm for season 12. We had J.B. Smoove on the show last week, and he had to be kind of cryptic about what was happening and when. But Richard Lewis has not, and he's been on this show a number of times over the years, and I love Richard Lewis. He has not been in the best of health over the past few years, and so he was conspicuously absent from some past seasons. But if you follow him on social media, he confirmed that he will be back in the upcoming 12th season. He and Larry David, of course, famously went, the backstory, they met each other at summer camp as kids. That'd be great if
same age?
Huh?
Are they the same age?
There might be a couple of years apart.
Huh.
But I think they're about the same age.
Larry David looks so much older.
And Richard Lewis?
Well, again, they're both mid-70s, right?
I also have only seen like 3 episodes of the first season of this show.
Right. Richard Lewis is 75 years old. And Larry David is, 43. They're both 75 years old. So he'll be on. So people who are still following along with Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Maybe because Richard Lewis has hair.
Probably, yes. Got the long hair. He hasn't said how many episodes he'll do, but there is also, the iHeartRadio app is, of course, not just number one because of shows like Rover's Morning Glory or The Alan Cox Show, or I'm sure we have other shows, but, they're also, Bill, number one for podcasts.
Oh,
and
really?
I wish they would start talking about that. They should really start crowing about that.
Promote it, yeah.
But the company is launching a Curb Your Enthusiasm podcast with Susie Essman and Jeff Garlin. So there you go. Also rolling out podcasts with our friend Eric Andre and Jason Alexander. Listen, I love when Jason Alexander does stuff. He's still trying to wash the Costanza off of him. People thought that the other cast members of Seinfeld back in the day were being greedy. You might recall when they would go through contract negotiations, Jerry Seinfeld and Larry David got the lion's share of the money from that show. They created it. They wrote it. Nobody was going poor on that show. But there was a time when, prior to the final season, when Michael Richards and Julia Louis-Dreyfus and Jason Alexander were all kind of complaining somewhat publicly that they didn't think that they were getting what they deserved. They wanted to make more money. They wanted a bigger piece of the pie. And if you think of it in terms of no one's ever going to be able to see me past this character, you understand why you want to get paid then. Julia Louis-Dreyfus has had an amazing career since Seinfeld. Michael Richards, not so much. He had a tough time on stage.
A bit spotty.
Spotty at best.
Spotty, yeah.
Yep.
Honestly, the second best, like the guy that's had the best career since Seinfeld, acting wasn't even one of the major actors. It was
Newman.
No, Cranston. Bryan Cranston.
Bryan Cranston.
I didn't know he was. I'm so not.
He
a
was
Seinfeld
Tim
person.
Whatley.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And listen, Jason Alexander has done, I think, some very entertaining things along the way. It's just everybody sees him as Costanza. He had a TV show a couple of years ago where he was the dad in like a Partridge Family type family. It was called Hit the Road, I think. And it was only on for one season. And I think it was on like when AT&T used to have the Audience Channel. Remember that? They had the Audience Channel. And, I mean, their big joke was that the family's name was Swallow. And I guess they thought that would carry them like a long way. And the premise of the show, I think, as I recall, was that they were like a former Partridge Family type band who ends up getting back on the road and trying to relive their former glories. So, I mean, for me, Jason Alexander begins and ends with Duckman. Because I love that show.
It was a good show.
That was concurrent with Seinfeld.
Yeah, as was Dunstan Checks In, which
yes.
is a classic.
Classic.
Of course, he was also famously Bourbon Verlander on The Simpsons. But what are you going to do?
He had a tail, and there's something about
Shallow
Hal.
Yeah, the fat. I said the fat
one is, I believe, the working title of that movie.
I do not like Jack Black. I have seen the movie.
She's not body shaming Gwyneth Paltrow.
I remember my mom describing that movie to me. She saw the trailer and she's like, "This movie that's coming out looks so funny. There's this guy and he is not attractive.
Yeah.
But he only wants to go out with hot women. And then he gets this magic spell put on him and he sees fat women as hot women, which is good for him because he's not attractive."
Mm-hmm.
She's just very trying to drive home. He is not attractive.
Listen, I thought, and it was a very different time too. You couldn't make that movie now, but I thought the premise of Shallow Hal was dynamite. That's a movie that shouldn't have stunk, but it did.
What, fat chicks are hot too?
Well, again, the premise, it was a very broad, it's a Farrelly Brothers thing, right? They were doing a comedy about Siamese twins, and I mean, these guys were not looking to do things in good taste.
Right.
They just happened to hit the bullseye a couple of times with Dumb and Dumber and
Something About Mary.
Something About Mary, yeah.
Which
But I thought
think
the
is
premise of Shallow Hal was very funny.
Something About Mary is a pretty overrated movie.
I agree.
I didn't.
I just
that
rewatched
movie.
it a while ago. It would happen to be on, and I was like, well, I'll watch that. I haven't seen it in a while. Yeah, it's. I don't know. It's okay.
It's got like those big moments with the ear and the balls and the zipper, and it's a
we
lot
got
of
a
like
bleeder.
Yeah,
I know.
I didn't love that movie.
How'd you get the Frank
And the beans.
below the beans?
Oh, below the beans. Right. Okay, maybe it's funnier than I remember.
Alan, how conflicted do you think that the USA team feels in competing against Iran? Because if America wins, the Iranian team goes home and gets executed.
You know what they signed up for.
You hear those kinds of stories, but I don't know that that's true. Why would anyone play soccer for their home country unless they're conscripted into it? But if that was, hey, if you lose, don't come home, because if you do, we'll kill you. I mean, you hear those kinds of stories, but I don't know if that's true. I like how people now are scoffing at the Powerball because it's only $65 million. But I'm not playing the Powerball.
You can't live off that.
$65 million. That's
taxes.
chump
the
change. The taxes alone would only put me in the
$40
million range. I can't do anything with that.
You buy a $20 million house. You put your family on. You give them each $1 million each. You're gonna run out of money really quick.
A couple of dudes won $1 million apiece in Saturday's drawing up in Michigan. So really good weekend for them with, of course, University of Michigan spanking Ohio State for the second time in as many years. And then those guys each win $1 million. I think somebody in California won $1 million. It's pretty good. We, on our way back from Chicago on the road, stopped off, have a pish, grab a snack. I bought a handful of scratchers from one of the vending machines.
And?
I had a $10 bill in my pocket, and I rarely have cash, and so Gwen and my daughter and I walked over. I said, let's put $10 into this machine. Break it up however you want. So I think we bought a couple of singles, a $2 or $5, whatever. Mm-hmm. We had one winning ticket. Made our money back, $5.
Hey, well then you didn't make your money back. You lost $5.
I made half my money back. I was down 50%.
There you go.
But anyway, so then the question becomes, do we let it ride or do I take the $5?
You already lost. Might as well let it ride.
Let it ride, baby. Here's the problem, though. Because I do scratchers so infrequently, it will sit in my car's cup holder for the next 9 months.
So what?
Because I'll forget to do anything with it.
Make a plan. Get it done. Get it done today on your way home.
I don't like to stop on my way home. I want to leave work. I want to go home.
What about on your way in? Drop the kid off at school, stop at the gas station,
yeah,
come into work, grab a snack.
I do have to pass a speedway every morning.
You have to get a little Mountain Dew action.
Nope.
Maybe a croissant.
Nope. Now, a Mountain Dew croissant, you might be onto something there.
Croissant flavored, butter flavored Mountain Dew.
I was drinking
like you.
I was drinking hard Mountain Dew this past weekend.
Oh yeah, how's that stuff?
It varies based on which flavor you have. They have it in Baja. They have it in OG. they have it in black cherry, and they have it in watermelon. And I think the black cherry is the superior flavor.
Really?
I think.
The OG doesn't taste like OG?
The OG doesn't taste like OG.
Yeah, see, that's the problem. If it tasted just like Mountain Dew, then it'd be real good and real
Then again,
dangerous.
I've never used, as much as I like Mountain Dew, I've never used it as a mixer. So I won't have like tequila and Mountain Dew. It's just something about it. So anyway, but
You're a purist.
Thanksgiving Eve, we go to my middle brother's house, have some pops. Thanksgiving Day, have my mom's, everybody's, And then Thanksgiving night, we go to my youngest brother's house. It's just a few of us, and catching up with he and his wife are divorced, but they both co-parent, and she's around over holidays, and everybody gets along. And so I'm standing there, and I'm chugging hard dews. And my ex-sister-in-law likes them too. So I'm leaning over and giving her a sip, and we're kind of, we're kibitzing over the better flavors. But in the midst of all this, I'm thinking, as Mary just did, boy, a Mountain Dew croissant, you might be onto something there. Because what do most people say who enjoy croissants?
This
And
needs more
10 years
sugar.
ago, yeah, that's right. 10 years ago, when my wife and I went to Paris,
How do I caffeinate this?
yes, people go, this croissant is buttery smooth, but you know what it needs in the middle? Juice.
Why isn't it
It
yellow?
needs,
Like a gusher.
it needs, if we could just combine the flakiness of a croissant with a gusher, with the oral experience of a gusher. By the way, our fearless boss and program director, Rob Anthony, just told me in a break, he has already trademarked as his new band name, Gonorrhea Slush Fund.
There it
So
is.
Poundcake is already on the big board for coming up with the next very exciting. I don't hear him. Why don't I hear
Because
Poundcake?
he's not talking.
I thought I just saw him talk on the
He's-
screen. Oh, he's
he's-
talking to a
he's
caller.
talking to a caller,
I'm sorry.
yeah.
It's
Sorry,
very hard
you
for
said
me.
something?
No, it's okay. I was just mentioning that in the break, Rob Anthony told me that he beat you to the punch, and he's already trademarked Gonorrhea Slush Fund as his new band name. So, just,
Go for it.
yeah, you don't want to relive something. You don't want your terrible life experiences to be played out as pop culture jokes.
And it put me in the debt.
And it put him in the
Number
dead.
one in the dead. Poundcake, how was that meeting that you were supposed to have with him?
What?
What do you mean supposed? Oh, yeah. How was that meeting you were supposed to have with him?
With who?
With Rob.
Did you not get that email?
We all had individual meetings with him.
I didn't have a meeting with him.
He said anybody who doesn't come to this meeting gets fired.
Well, then I guess I'm fired. I didn't have any meeting with him. What?
It was this
Before the
morning.
show, he didn't know he's supposed to turn his microphone on and up. And now
Can't believe it.
What meeting?
we
There
knew.
was a meeting
It's like a
to
get
the
to know
email.
him meeting.
Now
'cause
he's playing
yeah.
dumb. What meeting? I'm not going to any meeting. See, on the air, he plays dumb. In the break, he tells me, that guy can eat me. I'm not going to any meeting.
He can eat my gonorrhea slush.
He can put 2 straws in my gonorrhea slush.
No, the whole talk to pair thing. That's what I thought we were doing. I'm like, oh, I don't hear the station.
it!
And then I was like, oh, well, yeah, that's why you guys don't hear
We were
me.
trying to
I'm
get
like,
your signal for the live stream, but we don't need to talk about that. But
We want to talk about your meeting with Rob.
We wanted to talk about how that meeting went.
yeah, well, I didn't have one.
Well, I would email him right now and try and set up a new one.
Okay, I'll do that.
Say, hey, they just told me about the meeting I was supposed to have,
'Cause
and I
don't
couldn't be
read my
sorrier. In
email.
fact, let me take you and your family to dinner to make up for it, right? He's got a wife, a couple of daughters. He's new in town. He's still getting his feet wet,
Mhm.
right? He's a native of New England, of Rhode Island.
Okay.
And so they're kind of reacclimating to Northeast Ohio. I would suggest you take his family out to dinner.
Y'all can share one Chipotle bowl.
I was gonna
No,
say,
for a very expensive dinner.
I mean, we could go to Marble Room and then.
Yeah, right.
Well, I didn't say I was going to pay. I said we could go to Marble Room. I might know a guy there that could get us a free meal, but
I might know a guy.
I know people.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Marble Room is where we wanted to go for my birthday, and they book 3 months out.
you're joking.
Did you know that?
I heard that.
3 months.
But you are Mary Santora.
I didn't make the reservation.
You
Brian
you
did.
should have.
Well,
You-
I didn't know where we were going to go. He was like doing a surprise birthday dinner thing.
I'm not a perks guy, but if I can get a table somewhere more quickly by somebody being aware of who I am,
Mm-hmm.
if that means anything to them, I will do that.
See, but then what
I
happens?
will pull that trigger.
What happens when I'm like, hey, this is Mary Santora for the Alan Cox Show. I'd like to have dinner. And they're like, who?
You are Mary Santora's assistant calling on her behalf to see if you're right. It won't work for you. It'll work for me.
It'll work for you. Why don't you call and say, hi, I'm Alan Cox Show. My plebeian.
Hi, I'm Alan Cox Show.
My plebeian co-host would like to eat dinner with you.
Hello, this is Alan Cox Show. That'll work.
Might work.
All right, let's try it out. Hold on.
Call them.
Yep.
I think they might answer and say,
Hello, this is. Oh, hello.
hello?
Hi, who's this?
Hi, is this marble room?
This is Mold Marble Room.
Mold
yes.
Marble Room?
Yep.
This is Alan Cox Show?
Yes.
Yeah, have you heard of us?
No, I have not. I'm sorry.
Oh, my goodness. Well, we're
I'm
like,
sorry. Your name is Alan Cox Show.
yes, I'm Alan Cox Show. And we have one of our co-hosts would like to have
Is this
dinner.
a Twitter thing or a YouTube thing or?
It's a global live broadcast.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a live event every day.
GLB, okay.
Yeah. One of our co-hosts would like to have dinner, and it shows online that you're booked out until March. I'm
sorry,
wondering.
what's the name?
Her name is Mary Santora.
Uh-huh.
The Mary Santora. I don't know if
Okay.
you've ever heard of her.
Nope.
But she would like to have dinner for her birthday.
Okay.
And we're wondering if there's any wiggle room. You know, it says you're booked out till March, but if maybe we can make something happen.
Well, let me look and see what we've got here. I might. I'm sorry. What was your name again?
I'm the Alan Cox
You're
Show,
Alan Cox Show.
but I'm calling on
Right.
behalf of Mary Santora.
Right. You're Alan Cox Show.
Mm-hmm.
Can I put you on hold real quick?
Sure.
Even got fancy hold music.
No,
Okay,
right?
I think I might have a table here for you. How many in your party?
2?
Hold on, please. I have a table, but it has to be for 15 or more. Is there any
Ooh.
way that you can get 13 more people?
Yes, I have disciples.
Hold on, please. Oop, I'm sorry, I was just told that table's gone.
Oh, wow, that's quick.
Table for 2. I can probably. Hold on, please. Frank, hi. Listen, I have this dummy on the other line. Can you find out if we have some table near the men's crapper?
Frank,
Oh,
this
gosh,
is
I'm so
still
sorry. Hold
the
on.
Alan Cox Show.
Hello, Miss Alan Cox Show?
Yes.
I can get you a table near the men's crappers.
Do we get to drink from the urinal? Is that how we get our beverages?
So gross, Mary.
Sorry.
So gross.
3 months in advance.
3 months in advance.
That's popping.
So we're gonna try for our anniversary in June.
I think that's, I don't know.
They want to keep.
With all
That's
due
what they
respect.
said. He
Yeah,
said he tried
I
to
think
book it
that-
online,
I
and it
think
was
that's
booked
one
up.
of those. That's one of those artificial.
And he called in, and they said the same thing.
You never ever see anybody going in there.
That's not true.
That's not well.
Well, they
When
go.
was the last time you saw somebody going in there?
They don't go in through the front entrance, Alan. They want to be exclusive, and they go through other.
You go in where
entrances.
the entrance. What are they paratrooping from the roof? You go in where the door is.
I think there's other entrances.
Try it again. Go ahead. Sound it out.
There's other doors inside that building.
He did it.
Yay!
Now you might be right.
Well, I also have only been in there
Well,
once.
okay, so that you know what this means.
Huh.
That means that the gauntlet's been dropped. That
Yes.
means we need to see which one of us can get a table at the Marble Room first.
It's gonna be you. Are we dropping
I don't know
names?
that it's going to be
Are
me.
we dropping names?
I don't know. Plenty of people don't know who I am.
That's why, because even Brian brought that up. He's like, "You thinking maybe?" I was like, "I don't think so," because then I'm gonna feel like a real idiot if I'm like, "Hey, look who I am," and they're like,
No.
"Yeah, we don't
I'm
care."
calling for my boss.
Calling for my boss, Mary Santora.
You've never done the assistant call before?
No.
You never heard
I've
of
never
John
done that.
Barron?
No.
Trump used to pretend he was another guy to get good press.
No.
And people knew it was him and they didn't care.
I've
Because they
never
were
done
laughing
that.
at him.
How often do you do that?
I don't.
Oh.
What I'm saying is, if somebody knows who I am, I will take that perk.
Sure.
I won't say, hey.
Hey, my name's Alan.
That's
I'm on
right.
the radio.
That's right.
Because then they're gonna be like, "Congratulations, I don't care."
My wife has called for reservations before, and they'll say, what's the last name? And she'll say Cox, and they'll say, what's the first name? And she'll say Gwen, and they'll say, Alan Cox's wife, Gwen?
Nice.
And she goes, and she hates that. She hates it.
My sister hates it.
Because she
too.
wants to be,
She wants to be Gwen.
yes,
Yeah.
and she is.
I
She
actually,
doesn't want to just be my wife, but but I'm like, baby, if that's how we get a
Take it.
table,
Take it.
take it. That's right. How else are we going to get a table at Shake Shack?
Right.
my ex-wife still has my last name, and she was working on a movie, and one of the guys on the movie had worked with me on something, and he's like, "Oh, are you related to Bill?" And she's like, actually, sort
Not
of.
related.
Not related. But he was my husband at one point. And she's like, well, he is very good. Very good. This guy like sang my praises. I was like, oh, nice.
And your ex-wife's just holding it
she's
in.
like-
She's
she's
rolling
like,
her eyes.
well, there's actually a lot of things I can tell you.
Yeah.
That would change mine.
Giving herself
Yeah.
whiplash, rolling her eyes.
Nah, we get along very well.
Dustin from Georgia texted in. Alan is Dustin. I just looked at Marble Room. I can get a table for 2 at 8 o'clock this Saturday. I'm telling you, it's an artificial 3-month thing.
I don't know. That's what he said.
Did you
That's
specify?
what Brian said.
Did you have particular accommodations?
Brian just didn't want to take you.
Well, no, I mean, we still went to a nice dinner, but
No, you went to Pier W.
yeah, it was good.
Oh, that is a great spot.
It was
Oh,
good.
what are you, 85 years old?
But
It's pretty.
again, he wanted to handle it. He was like, "It's your birthday, let me handle everything." So I didn't question him. He was like, "Hey, they're booked out 3 months in advance." I said, "Okay."
That's why
Guarantee
he gets for
that's
using
fake.
that old crappy phone of his.
I know. They saw it was a consumer cellular number,
Yeah,
and they're
and
like,
they're
"We're
like,
not
nah,
having these
nah.
old people in here."
You know what? We can get you a table in 3 months. That's how long it'll take you to save up to eat here.
Right.
Yeah.
Sir, we don't accept jitterbug. I don't know.
Wake me up before you go to the Marble Room.
And there's a dress code.
Got to put down $100.
Yes, there's a dress
deposit.
code. You can't wear football jerseys. That's what passes for a
Meh.
dress code. No sweatpants.
I'm not going then.
This is the
Oh,
not
get
the
that.
Argle Bargle room. All right, I got to take a break. I'll have Castle Noel tickets for you. Want to get yourself in the Christmas spirit? You can do it out there in Medina. Castle Noel is the America's largest year-round indoor Christmas entertainment attraction. I'll get you a 4-pack coming back. 35192 if you want to text. We'll be back.
It's the Alan Cox Show.
On our free iHeartRadio app and your favorite smart device.